Hello, YouTube. iBankerU. Stand by for news. Today, the Middle East remains on edge after another week of military tension and diplomatic maneuvering. Wall Street closes the books on a volatile week with investors debating whether this rally has further to run. A young technology entrepreneur discovers that brilliance alone does not guarantee success in the capital markets. A Baltimore teenager proves that age has little to do with building a valuable company. And in Dallas, a 100-year-old woman reminds us that perhaps the greatest investment we can ever make is in ourselves. Let's begin. Page 1, the Iran story. The world spent another week watching the Middle East. Military planners studied satellite imagery. Energy traders watched the Strait of Hormuz. Diplomats shuttled between capitals. Every headline raised the same question. What's next? Whether you are an investor, business owner, or simply filling your gas tank, events in the Persian Gulf matter because nearly 1/5 of the world's seaborne oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. History has shown that markets often react first to uncertainty and then to reality. Crude oil prices can move several dollars in a single trading session on headlines alone. Shipping insurers adjust premiums. Airlines revisit fuel forecasts, which affects your ticket price. Manufacturers calculate transportation costs, yet history offers another lesson. Markets dislike uncertainty far more than they dislike bad news. Once investors understand the rules of the game, even difficult ones, they begin pricing risk instead of fearing the unknown. That does not diminish the human cost of conflict, but behind every geopolitical headline are families, soldiers, business owners, and communities whose lives change forever. The numbers matter. The people matter even more. Page 2, Wall Street Week in Review. Now to the markets. It was another week that reminded investors why discipline outperforms emotion. The major indices finished mixed as traders balanced strong corporate earnings against questions about interest rates, inflation, and the pace of economic growth. Technology remained at the center of attention. Artificial intelligence continued to dominate boardrooms and earnings calls, but investors became more selective. The lesson? Not every AI company deserves the same valuation. This week, watch 3 indicators. First, Treasury yields. Higher yields generally pressure high-growth technology companies because future earnings become worth less in today's dollars. Second, corporate earnings guidance. The numbers matter, but management's outlook often matters more. Third, energy prices. Any sustained increase in crude oil could ripple through transportation, manufacturing, and consumer spending. Remember this, successful investors don't predict every market move. They prepare for multiple outcomes. They manage risk. They stay diversified, and they refuse to let a single headline determine a lifetime investment plan. In other words, position as you build that stack. Page 3, Business Report. Leopold Aschenbrenner is widely recognized for his work on artificial intelligence and his bold predictions about the future of advanced computing. But this year, however, he encountered one of Wall Street's oldest lessons. Having a compelling vision is only part of the equation. Execution, timing, credibility, capital allocation, and most importantly, risk management determine whether investors stay for the long term. You cannot leverage 4-to-1 into perpetuity, Leopold. This was, for him, a $35 billion lesson. Markets have a remarkable way of separating ideas from businesses. History is filled with brilliant inventors who struggled commercially and disciplined operators who quietly built extraordinary companies. The capital markets reward more than intelligence. They reward consistency, cash flow, governance, and the ability to deliver results quarter after quarter. Innovation may capture headlines. Execution builds enterprises. That's a lesson as old as Wall Street itself, and certainly Ken Griffin understands this. Page 4, The American Builder. Now, let's meet one of America's youngest builders. Say hi to Vishnu Cananan from the Baltimore area. Vishnu is just 17. While many of his high school classmates were studying for exams or deciding where to spend summer vacation, Vishnu is building a business. And very recently, in March, as a matter of fact, that company was reportedly acquired for approximately $2 million. So, credit to the Baltimore Sun for that figure. It's a remarkable achievement for anyone, but for a 17-year-old, sparkling. But perhaps the most important story is not the sale price, it's what it represents. Curiosity, persistence, learning, and taking an idea from concept to customer. America has always rewarded people willing to solve problems. Sometimes those people are seasoned entrepreneurs, and sometimes they're still teenagers. Every successful company begins the same way. Somebody notices a problem. Somebody believes it can be solved. Somebody decides to begin. And the size of the first step rarely predicts the size of the final destination. But great first step, Vishnu. Page 5, living well. Finally tonight, a birthday celebration in Dallas. Joan Eichner recently celebrated her 100th birthday at the Moody Family YMCA. She's been a member there for over 3 decades. Ask her the secret to a long life, and she won't hand you an investment prospectus. She will tell you about aqua fitness classes, friends, conversations after workout, a little wine, a little chocolate, and perhaps most importantly, a reason to get moving every morning. Her advice is beautifully simple. When you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, to get up and keep going anyway. 100 years. Think about what she's witnessed. The Great Depression, World War II, the arrival of television, the moon landing, the personal computer, the internet, artificial intelligence. Markets have risen, markets have fallen, technology has changed, but human nature, not nearly as much. Community still matters. Movement still matters. Purpose still matters. Joan says she does not feel old. She says she loves being alive. And that may be the most encouraging headline of the day. Page 6, closing thoughts. The headlines often focus on conflict, on volatility, on uncertainty, and yes, those stories deserve our attention, but they're not the only stories being written. Somewhere tonight, a young entrepreneur is building the next successful company. A manufacturer is hiring another machinist. A family is opening the doors to a small business for the first time. A retiree is helping a grandchild learn the value of saving. A 100-year-old woman is making plans for tomorrow's exercise class. History is rarely shaped by only presidents or generals or billionaires. More often, it's shaped by ordinary people who quietly decide to keep building, keep investing, keep learning, keep serving, and to keep showing up. The markets will open again tomorrow. The headlines will change, but character, discipline, curiosity, and hope, those remain some of the most valuable assets any American can own. So until next time, keep building something worth leaving behind. Build that stack. iBankerU. Good day.